Here we go again. Over a year and 6 months has passed since I last fully talked about you, Fredward Klingon III, if that is your real name. Unlike with Bubba, I've actually watched most, if not all, of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I remember them being some of the more fun ones in my opinion. Freddy was such an out-there character, vastly different from the stoic monsters like Myers and Jason. I remember the films feeling much more alive and energetic, and that made them stand out to me. Of course, that was before the franchise took a left turn at Bizarre Street and fucking What Avenue, as the story followed the Michael Myers route of delving into some wild-ass dream demon god plotline thing before the creators threw their hands up and decided it was time for another motherfucking reboot. Freddy has thankfully escaped the Myers treatment of having 76 different timelines because he only has one reboot, and I'm just gonna say it, I liked the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I thought it was really fucking good. Was it the original Freddy we had? No, but it was still good, and while we were at it, people being like, actually, movie bad because Freddy was a kitty diddler and not a kitty killer, makes no sense to me because, and I can't believe this is a hot take, being a kitty diddler is just as bad as being a kitty killer, and I can't believe we are having these conversations. Acting like Freddy underwent a complete tonal shift because they changed what he was doing to kids before the parents congregated to barbecue his ass into a pizza-faced supernatural knife-hand weirdo just never made much sense in my opinions. Overall, I think 2010 remake did a pretty good job of keeping the kills creative, the scares high, and the lore atmospheric. The slight fake out with the possibility of Freddy might have been innocent was kinda cool. Only thing that holds the film back is this isn't Freddy. Remake Freddy is played by Jackie Earle Haley, and while he was fantastic at portraying Freddy as a horrifying visage haunting your dreams, there's just no matching the zany personality of Robert Englund. Robert's performance was so out there, Freddy seemed to be having almost too much fun, and that made everything so much more unsettling. So you can imagine the surprise, and perhaps the outrage, I don't know, I wasn't there, when what we got in Dead by Daylight was the 2010 Freddy and not original Robert Englund. So how well did that transfer over? Well, today, let's take a look at Freddy's themes, power, gameplay, perks, add-ons, and more. Check your screen now or the description for the time codes, and remember, this is largely an auditory experience, so you can throw this on a second monitor or your phone or speak and spell or whatever, and let's get into Freddy Krueger, otherwise known as the Nightmare. Alright, I think I've consumed enough alcohol to get me through this section without popping a blood vessel from sheer anger, so let's get into it. There is not a single solitary character in this game who has worse themes than Freddy. Everything from his power to his Mori, his animations, his add-ons, they are all such shit. Nothing within this character design feels like Freddy, either iteration. While yes, the add-ons are things from the movie and that's good, their effects leave a lot to be desired, and often include things that don't match the character, like making people louder. Cause sure, why not? I mean, why not make people ladder while they are asleep on top of them glowing like a fucking Christmas tree? His perks are the only good thing about his themes, all end-game builds, essentially playing into the idea that Freddy is stronger the more you think of and deal with him, which is consistent with his lore, but that's where the good things end. Everything else is so shit. His Mori is boring and uninspired, a far cry from the creative over-the-top monster we know of. I at least would have liked to see Freddy pull people into the ground and fountain of blood gush up like the scene where a young Johnny Depp gets axed. There's tons of things we could have gotten instead of we get stabbed through chest, and it's so fucking dull. Everything about this killer is fucking dull. I'll get into the gameplay aspects in a bit, but thematic-wise, his power is shit. Pools of blood that slow people down just enough for you to think you're gonna catch them until you don't. A dream world that does nothing more than give you a pathetic stealth. It's not scary or creepy, it's just there. The dream palettes are the only interesting creative thing about him, and they are tied to the fucking add-ons for some goddamn reason. While I do like that Freddy's lullaby inside the dream world is the song that the children sing, you know, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. It doesn't do much to feel like you're playing against Freddy, and instead, it feels like you're playing against somebody cosplaying as Freddy, and one of those very shitty low-budget cosplays, where somebody fucking spent like $3 on a shirt dirt and then painted some butter knives brown. On top of that, Freddy actually gets weaker as the game goes on, which plays against both him as a character and how the fucking game works. As gens get completed, Freddy loses teleport points, and while the animation for the teleport is all neato and such, the fact that Freddy fucking Krueger gets weaker as time goes on just makes me want to kick a toddler. How the fuck is it even possible? How do you fuck a character's theme so bad? It never feels like you're playing Freddy. It feels like you're playing dude with knife gloves. Nothing about Freddy, his mannerisms, his sounds, his animation, his power, nothing feels like Freddy, and it pisses me off so goddamn much. And I think the blood vessel just popped. Behavior gets a 0.5 out of 5 for thematics. It's so shit. It's absolutely, positively shit. I hate it all so much. And yes, I do have some ideas of how to fix it. Aside from being a thematic nightmare, Freddy's power and gameplay is also scraping the dog shit at the bottom of the dog shit filled barrel. Freddy's power comes in 3 parts, and I'm going to first address the overarching passive power, the dream world, and then we'll get into his active powers. The dream world is where Freddy actually resides, and one thing to keep in mind when I'm describing the rest of his kit, including his add-ons later on, is that Freddy is only an M1 killer when the survivor he is targeting is awake. If they are not asleep, only your basic attack will affect them. Not dream snares, not dream pallets, none of your add-ons, nothing will affect the survivor while awake. So how do you put them to sleep? Well, you can either hit them with a basic attack or wait an entire 60 painful seconds. Now, one good thing is while survivors are awake, Freddy is actually invisible to them. Oh wait, that's only outside of a 32-meter radius, and his tear radius is 32 meters. Well, never fucking mind. All you gotta do is use your special eyes to view your brand of shit killer the second the heart on the visual TR shows up. He does become intermittently visible at 16 to 32 meters, but never once has intermittent phasing done a damn thing on any killer in this game. Once asleep, survivors become vulnerable to your abilities. They become oblivious, and Freddy has a lullaby in place of terror radius for them alone, and that's it. The dream world doesn't do anything. There's nothing that you can do as the killer to make it a viable threat, as your powers even in the dream world are complete shit, and there's no passive effects that can harm them. And even if there were, survivors can wake up stupid easily. Alarm clocks, getting hooked, missing skill checks, and even another survivor performing a wake-up action all snap you out of the dream world in what is perhaps the best example of the "stop, he's already dead" meme when it comes to countering killer powers. The absurd amount of ways you can be woken up, and using alarm clocks even makes you immune to being put back to sleep for 30 seconds. And get this! I just read the wiki while writing this video to make sure I have the numbers right. Not only does missing skill checks wake up survivors, but it also wakes up any survivors you are doing the co-op action with. So if they are repairing the gen with you or healing someone, will wake both you and the person you're healing up. The amount of counterplay poured into being woken up would make you think being put to sleep is some sort of cataclysmic event that completely shifts the paradigm and makes Freddy this unstoppable beast, but no, it does fucking nothing. It's worthless, made even more so by the fact that survivors can just wake up by taking a deep breath or whatever, rendering your useless abilities less than useless. God damn it, I hate this killer so much. I'm 5 paragraphs deep, and I haven't even scratched the surface of how utterly dogshit this killer is. Okay, next up, let's talk about the dream projection before I dive headfirst into the crap that is the active power. The dream projection allows you to teleport to any non-completed generator on the map. It has a dynamic cooldown of 45 seconds, and for each asleep survivor, the cooldown is reduced by 15%, and you can add add-ons to augment this up to a 20% reduction per asleep survivor for a max of 80%, which is cool until you remember the 400 ways there is for survivors to wake up, and you realize you'll normally only have 1 to 2 survivors asleep at any given time. The cast time is 3 seconds, but while doing doing it, you pull out a megaphone and loudly announce to the entire lobby you're teleporting to that gen as an entire elephant's worth of blood comes gushing out of the damn generator and a visage of Freddy appears. If you cancel the teleport, it goes on a 10-second cooldown. And to top all this nonsense off, when you come out of the damn teleport, you have no idea where anyone is because unlike every other killer in the game, like Xeno, Demo, and more, you do not get Killer Instinct unless you have a fucking add-on. You know how people like to say Trapper needs half his add-ons base kit? I'd argue Freddy needs almost all of his fucking add-ons base kit. Oh my god, I'm not even halfway through describing this power and I'm losing my mind! So just like the Dream World, the Dream Projection is another example of overkill of weaknesses for an effect that is okay at best. While the Dream Projection and Stealth of the Dream World are the only things I'd argue keep Freddy out of F tier and put him just above Myers and Trapper, it's still shit because there's too many downsides. Long ass cooldown, telegraphed as hell, and you actually lose the ability to teleport as the game goes on, which makes negative sense given the fact that his fucking perks are all in-game perks, which provides anti-synergy because fuck you, that's why. But the worst offender, the fucking worst part of this stupid killer's kit is the Dream Snares. Dream Snares are these tiny blood pools you put on the ground. Awake survivors do not see them and are not affected by them. Asleep survivors, however, can see them, and when they walk over them, they scream, revealing their location and are hindered by a whopping 15%. And I'm not being sarcastic, that's huge. And it only lasts for 3 seconds. So basically by the time they walk over it, you make your stupid ass around the loop to catch them, it's over and they are off to the races. It's a worse clown bottle with more restrictions and weaknesses. Again, being a power that has more downsides than upsides. You used to be able to place it through walls, but they took that away because fuck you, how dare you want to pick your favorite 80s eccentric slasher. Not only will we drain all personality from him, but we will also make sure that the survivors can counter you by their mere existence. There is no killer easier to bully than Freddy. The only fun thing about this godforsaken killer is his dream palettes, and those are only available through add-ons and are even easier to counter than the dream snares. On top of that, several palettes in the game are glitched, so that even after you destroy them, you can't replace a palette with a dream palette. So how do we fix all this? I mean, this character is a fucking mess. All of his powers are mediocre with a goddamn encyclopedia of counters and weaknesses that make him a little more than a toddler being kicked by professional NFL players every match he's in. Let's break this into 3 sections. Number 1, the Dream World. Make alarm clocks the only way to wake up. No missed skill checks, no awake survivors waking other people up, no waking up when you're hooked. You have to go and seek out alarm clocks. In compensation, I'd give the sleep immunity an additional 15 seconds for a total of 45 seconds sleep immunity. Asleep survivors see all gens as completed, all chests as open, all totems as hex totems, and in the in-game, asleep survivors see a third illusionary exit gate. Basically, what this means is survivors have to interact with objects to see what's real and what isn't. Generators they approach will have the lights on and the pistons moving full force, but if they go to touch it, they will see if they can repair it if it hasn't been repaired already. If they touch the chest, and the open prompt will show up. Fake hex totems will provide much needed slowdown for Freddy, and fake exit gate will disappear if they try to open it. Number 2, fix the teleport. Allow Freddy to teleport to already completed and blocked generators. They show up white to help differentiate between the two. When coming out of a teleport, Killer Instinct should happen for 5 seconds to help Freddy orient himself. Number 3, fix the dream traps. Remove dream snares. In their place, provide dream pallets, lockers, and vaults. Freddy starts each trial with 21 tokens. These tokens can be used to manipulate the reality within the trial. Dream pallets work as they currently do. Replacing broken or placing a fake pallet at locations when thrown will break instantly and will not stun the nightmare. Dream lockers. Dream lockers will lock when a survivor enters them, trapping the survivor in them for 3 seconds, and Freddy will get a loud noise notification when a survivor enters the locker, whether it is slow or fast. Dream Vaults. Only 2 Dream Vaults can exist on the map at the same time, and are highlighted in white to Freddy. A Dream Vault acts as a normal vault, but after being fast or medium vaulted, it is blocked by the entity for all asleep survivors for 10 seconds. Anytime a dream trap is triggered, the token is returned to Freddy after 15 seconds. With all these changes, Freddy now becomes the trickster monster he is supposed to be, able to create a nightmare world where survivors can't tell fiction from reality. With that out of the way, let's leave our fantasy land where Freddy doesn't suck and take a look at perk recommendations. My recommendation is to not play this fucking killer, but you'll want to stay away from hex builds, in-game builds, and gen kicking perks. Freddy benefits the most from passive slowdown. He can use perks like Ruin, Surveillance, and Discordance, however, thanks to his teleport, he can harass gens pretty effectively. I'd stick with strong M1 perks like Sloppy, Save the Best for Last, and Surge. Undetectable perks can work in your favor, but they aren't really necessary, and you can do some pretty solid skill check builds with his dress add-ons, but generally speaking, Freddy is so weak that his perk selection suffers greatly. Freddy's skill floor and skill ceiling are incredibly low, and playing against him is also boring as shit. I'm so apathetic when I see a Freddy because I know the only thing stopping us from at least a 3-man out will be anyone's sheer incompetence. That's the problem. Freddy sits in the same position as Myers and Trapper, where you're not really winning because of the skill, but more you're waiting around for survivors to make mistakes. It should come as no surprise that behavior gets a 1 out of 5 for power and gameplay, the only saving grace being the dream palettes. And to be honest, even then, I fucking hate it. Need more Kaiser in your life? Well, I've got you covered. Check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload full gameplays, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also upload a daily short with all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description. Let's take a moment to relax, as the perks for Freddy are probably the best things about him, and they don't even work well on him. Oh well, at least they are unique, creative, and fun. Blood Warden reveals the auras of survivors in the exit gates, and once per trial, after an exit gate has been opened, hooking a survivor blocks the exit gates for 60 seconds. I did an entire video on why the perk isn't very utilized, but I'll try and summarize it here. The perk has inherent counterplay built into the collective conscience of the community. Essentially, you should never open the gates if you don't have everyone around you. 99ing the gates is common practice, so very rarely will this perk ever activate. However, when it does, it's some of the most fun you'll ever have. I do think it could stand to be on a 90-second or even 100 seconds of gate blocking, but it isn't necessary. It's a bad perk, but I'm won over by its charm and fun it provides, especially with the Alucard Shield add-on. Go for it! Yeah, go for it, guys! Yeah, go for it! Go for it, guys! Go for it! Go for it, guys! Go for it! Go for it! Oh my god, this add-on is the greatest fucking thing to ever happen, dude. She's gonna get out though, because the Blood Warden's gonna go away before I get there. Oh my god, yes! Next, we have Fire Up. Every time a gen is completed, gain a token. For each token, you are 4% faster at picking up and dropping survivors, breaking things, and vaulting windows. Worthless, to be completely honest, but I do like how it's the only perk that affects pickup speed. You could give this perk 6 or even 7% per token, and it still wouldn't be very good, but it would be fucking funny. Finally on the list, we have Remember Me. Each time the obsession loses a health state, gain a token. For each token, the exit gates take 6 seconds longer to open for a maximum of 24 seconds. This penalty does not apply to the obsession. Again, a perk that isn't very good, but still charming in its own right. Overall, Freddy's perk design is full of the charm and character Freddy himself should be full of. They aren't good perks by any means, but their niche, unique effects make them a joy to behold. For perk design, I give behavior a 5 out of 5. Just buff Blood Warden and fire up a smidge, and I'll be perfectly happy. I was quite surprised by Freddy's add-ons. With most of them falling into the average category, what does exist can be helpful, like increasing the penalty for missed skill checks, Killer Instinct upon teleporting to a gen and reducing the cooldown on the teleport. Then there are the useless ones, increasing noises on asleep survivors, causing blindness, and more. Overall, a fairly balanced set of add-ons. If you flash your mind back to the perk recommendation, a lot of these simply pair well with perks. The skill check add-ons make for particularly interesting skill check build. Not a good one, mind you. Nowhere near the same level as Doctors, and it can be fairly interesting from time to time. Overall, I give behavior a 3 out of 5 for add-on design, not painfully average, but average nonetheless. The main change that I would make to any of the add-ons is to have Paintbrush also make survivors fall asleep at the end game, so that it pairs well with Black Box, or just give that effect to Black Box. As a bonus section, however, I wanted to go over some changes for add-ons I'd make, something I haven't done in a while, especially given my rework idea from earlier. For the Loud Noises tree of add-ons, I changed these instead to increase the lock time for Dream Lockers. For the Killer Instinct tree of add-ons, I would decrease the charge time on changing a Vault into a Dream Vault, and for Dream Palette add-ons, I'd simply keep the aura reading effect that when a Dream Palette is dropped. In a world where my changes don't go through, the only 3 I'd change is the Loud Noise tree. And for those, I'd say to change them to decrease the time it takes to fall asleep by, say, 10 seconds and 20 seconds, with the purple one reducing the time the alarm clock leaves you immune to sleep by 15 seconds. The final score for Freddy comes out to a 2.375 out of 5, and honestly, if it weren't for perk design, it would be far lower. Freddy is a shell, a husk of what he should be. Thematically and gameplay-wise, he feels empty and devoid of any true purpose. I never feel more sad when playing a killer, especially when I play Dream Palettes, because I can see the potential for the thing we lost. The devs stated a Freddy rework is on the horizon, and I hope they listen to the desperate cries of people like me and Pixelbush, who have both released rework videos, with this one being my second one. I want Freddy to succeed. As of now, he is the worst licensed killer. In fact, in the fact that he does not and never has felt like Freddy. And I don't just want a rework to his power. Give him a new Mori, new animations, and some fucking cosmetics, please! But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today and get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, personal coaching, and more, then please click the join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.